Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM Career Mode. This is episode 32. We're at the start of the new season. Let's just jump right into things. Here is my preseason setup this year. I'm doing a little bit of a mix. In past years, you want to put everybody on very high, but managing fatigue is not as easy as it used to be. So I do a bit of a mixture. My lower guys, I put them on normal. If they don't get into races for a while, this keeps their fatigue level a lot lower throughout the season. Then, based on the riders that have the earliest uh, key objectives, they're on very high. Everybody else is just on high. So, uh, managing that, the ones that are almost 2 months out, give them a little bit of longer period of time to kind of get into the swing of things. Quick glance at my objectives for the year. Let's go long story short. Now that I'm in World Tour, we have a full calendar of World Tour races, and we are a team that we're on the bubble. We are not going to feature as heavily in some of the races as we would in others, but we're going to be in all of them. So how do you balance that calendar out? Well, long story short, I'll get into the objectives, but three objectives: the World Tours, the Grand Tours. What do we have for the Grand Tours? Well, stage win objectives in all three. Of course, La Vuelta really doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want on that one because it's post-August, it's post-contract period. But I decided that I'm going to have three different types of objectives for each of those three races, especially since we're going for the stage win. Let's go for it. We'll do the stage win thing. We're not built yet this year for Grand Tour success as a stage racer type. Martinez is not quite there, and definitely nobody else is there. Maybe by the end of the year they will be as we level up. But let's save that for next season. This year, let's just try to get through those. And so the three objectives: Giro, King of the Mountains. We'll try to do breakaways. We'll try to get that King of the Mountains jersey and get our stage win that way. The Tour, we're going to go with the sprint team for that one and try to win on those flat stages and compete for the green jersey. In La Vuelta, we'll take the punchers for that one, try to get our stage win that way. Part of that has to do with quantity. There's more sprint stages at the Tour. There's more punchy stages at La Vuelta. There's plenty of climbing stages to choose from at the Giro, hence picking those particular races for those particular goals. Plus, that's going to help us mix it up this year, right? We're going for a different objective in each of those three things, but ultimately the same objective. So it's a great way to mix it up for this particular season coming. Now, from there, my other major objectives, well, the four biggest ones: Tour de Suisse, Itzulia Basque, Strade Bianche, Milano Sanremo. So I've made sure to get at least some riders to each of those. Of course, now you're mixing it up with Grand Tours on a lot of those dates. The other larger objectives that I have, but not as big: Liège-Bastogne-Liège, E3 Saxo Bank, Amstel Gold, Flèche Wallonne, and Omloop Het Nieuwsblad. I was able to get some riders on pretty much all of those, 3 to 4 guys. And then, following all of that, national team races. And the last one to throw in was we were able to get a few guys on UAE just because, especially because it fits their profile. Tour Down Under, we were able to get a couple guys on those. So that's how I divvied out the objectives. Now from there, I was able to hop over into the planner, and then you have that beautiful thing that I absolutely love that they added, I want to say last year, where you get that green underline when you have an objective set. So I was able to go in, fill all of those up. So Bogli, Coop, Culverwell had an opening, so I threw them on Tour Down Under because I like the Tour Down Under. There's some World Tour races that I'm just like, whatever. Cadel Evans, whatever. But for those ones, I want to go for it. So I picked those three. I picked a few guys to go with them. I have one vacancy. I'll let the auto planning assistant make the decision on who's going to fill that last spot. I put 3 down for Cadell Evans. I'll let the auto assistant pick those last few spots. I got 3 guys on the UAE. Whatever. But Omloop, there is some guys that targeted that, so I picked out a bit more. All these Continental Pro races, totally blank slate. Let the AI do its thing. And then that's kind of the nice thing about picking the key ones, getting the major objectives out there, getting a couple guys into Paris-Nice and letting the rest just unfold. Strade Bianchi, one of our kind of key targets. So I've got, 6 out of 7 slots already filled. Whoever gets that last one, the AI planning assistant's going to take some things into account, like how many days are our guys racing. Speaking of, how many are already preset? 55, 57 for a lot of guys. Vandenberg on the lower side because he's got a lot of one-day sprint races. It'll fill in some more, but it won't be a ton, I would think. Who has the most? Looks like Pithy. Pithy at 70 days. Now, I, as most of you know, keep a sticky note. I have my mountain guys, I have my punchers, I have my time trialists. It looks like Pithy might have the most crossover for us, or just had the best kind of schedule. He's not really the best at anything, but he's a good guy for our sprint. He's a good guy for our classics, both kind of support roles, and he's a good guy for punchy races. He's not a leader at any of those, but he plays a good support role, and apparently that's enough to get him a lot of days racing this year. But as you go down the list, it gets lighter. For one thing, Lacazette, nothing right now. He'll get his national team races. Bin Faisal, we got him 8 days racing, and that's it. So from there, you're looking at a lot of 50 to 60 days for most of the key guys on the team. Vashek, somebody who's a little bit more on the back foot, doesn't get as many days. But that gives us a basic set. I've picked out a few key races, every single rider who's going to be in them. Others, 4, 5, 6 guys. And the rest to be filled out later by the AI. And that's ultimately how I balance my schedule. But for that schedule, it's all set. Let's take a look at the team. First things first, the 6 riders that we have that are 5 stars or better, Martinez plus the 5 who got there by October, has not changed by January the 1st. So it's still the same. We also have a very healthy 4.5-star group, which of course was the pinnacle a season ago. We had one guy at the signing period before that. I think we had a few 3 or 4 4.5 stars at the start of last season. Early in the year, we had a bunch of 4.5 stars. Now, that's the back foot. It's not the leaders anymore. That's your middle of the road guys that you're going to use plenty. Bonneau, Coop, Frigo, probably all going to level up before too long, you would think. Abner Gonzalez. Abner Gonzalez was arguably the best rider we had at that early mid-season stage last year. Now he's in the middle of the team. Probably do another level up. He is a little older than some of the guys, so he's already a few levels further along, so his gap, the experience gap, maybe a little higher. Hence, it's taken him a little bit longer to level up. Culverwell, I think we wouldn't see much more from him for a while, as he reached that 4.5 later on and is a little bit older compared to some of the other guys. But like Nichols, Huggins, probably going to level up pretty soon. McKellar, I think he leveled up to 4.5 fairly recently. But yeah, those other two probably coming in soon. Bausch, new guy. Crunch, new guy. 20 and 4 stars. I got to decide how I want to pronounce his name out of Algeria. I think I thought about this earlier, but I've forgotten. Shurgai? I think Shurgai is what I'm going to go with. Anyway, those guys are all going to level up fairly soon. Shigai in particular, as he's only 3 stars and 19. We could expect those 3 to level up fairly soon, but it's going to take them quite a while to get, into this mix, and certainly to get up to where these guys are at. But Lenny Martinez is only 21, so you could expect him to level up fairly soon. Since we first saw him as a target in April, did he level up, or has he been the same? Hard to say. But you would think he's probably due. Also, one more quick thing before we start getting into races for the year and Tour Down Under, where we will start with that. Our top 4 guys all still have contracts into next year. Bogley and Pithy, the only ones that are up there that have expiring. But I know Coop, Frigo, plenty in that next group. Plenty. In fact, the majority of that next group are expiring this year. Some of those will obviously reach 5 stars before the end of this year, which means we're going to lose some good riders because we won't re-sign all of them. The money that they'll be looking for is going to be immense. So we will have to do some picking and choosing when the time comes on which ones to retain and who to move on from. So it's going to be a big year for the transfer market for us. But the key is that we already have 4 guys that are 5 stars or better. So I think we're looking at retention within World Tour. Should be fairly easy to do. And as for the objectives, we talked about them very briefly, but looking at them, I think it's going to be pretty manageable for us. We've gotten into that World Tour situation, or I've certainly gotten into that World Tour situation in past years where the expectations were quite high, and it was difficult. It was difficult to get through. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem, as we have a lot of top 10s, only a few top 5s, and the top 5 ones, other than Strade Bianchi, are generally on the lower side, 1.5 stars only. The top 10s, a lot more manageable, fairly easy to do. I think we can pull off a lot of those. We're not looking at like a Paris-Roubaix objective, top 5, top 3 kind of thing, where we don't have those top classics riders. Relatively manageable objectives. Stage wins at the Giro, at the Tour, feel like something we have a good chance of pulling off. Chance. A win is tough. And they are on the higher side for objectives. But I think by the time we get here, I'm thinking we're going to be looking fairly good on our evaluation. Maybe not 100%. Maybe not blue. I think we'll at least get green. I think we've got a good chance of getting blue, though, as in getting the increase of super, and that's 203,000 from our 169. So we are looking at exceeding 200,000 this coming year. I do think we're probably going to be looking at a different sponsor, so we'll be in the low 200,000s, 200K. That's a big increase. That's a lot of money. In fact, I think that'll be higher than anything we had in my PCM21 career mode series. I think we topped out in the 180s somewhere. So that's going to allow a lot more money for retention of riders. We already have 35,000 that we are under our maximum now, and we're going to increase by about 35,000. So that's going to give me a good 70,000 to play with. Plus we have a bunch of expiring contracts, and some of them are definitely beyond minimum salary. 80, 90, 100,000 to commit to riders, which means retaining 2 or 3 guys in that 30, 35,000 range seems pretty doable. Retaining somebody who's asking for 67,000, 60, 70,000, 80,000, we might not want to do because we're going to have 4 pretty quality riders. So maybe we retain the guys that are in that 30, 35,000 range, and then you're keeping kind of a rotating set of high quality riders, and that can become the elite ones, within 3 years. If we have one who comes along this year, we'll see how things are going. It's January the 1st. We've got time to make those kind of decisions. Now let's go ahead and push forward into the season. Stage 4 here in this Santos Tour Down Under, getting the season underway. Right now is the easy part as we descend, though the Peloton has already split multiple times. It's been a heavy tempo, and you've got a lot of riders that are not yet fit. I have quite a few guys that are fit for this race, just a couple that are not, and they're more the domestique types. Pithy with the unfortunate draw, but Bogley, double bonus for Bogley. So not only does Bogley have a +4 today, but Bogley leveled up over the last few days and is now our first 5.5-star talent. Yes, we already have a 5.5-star talent. We had no one at 5 stars just a handful of months ago. And now all of a sudden, not only did we get 6 up there, but we already have one of those 6 now exceeding that. So Bogley, you can see his base stats now. He's got an 80 hills, he's got a 78 acceleration, he's got an 81 resistance. Very, very punchy. And then he's just about good enough climbing-wise with a 73 mountain, 74 stamina, 70 flat to be pretty competitive. 21k to go. We are going to have to set up a sprint train here fairly soon, as it's one long climb, but it's not much of a climb. You can see here, 8.5 kilometers, but it's only 3.9%. Max does hit 15.4 very, very briefly, but there's only 2 steeper sections, and the rest of that thing is so casual. And then you're not done climbing at that point. You actually still go up. It's just even less steep towards the end, and then a little bit of a descent finish. So we're going to try to put the field under pressure, split the field up a little bit, and set this into a scenario where we're going to isolate a lot of riders. And with a Peloton shrinking as fast as it is, and hopefully with some guys not yet in form, it's going to give us an opportunity to do that. Now, Bogley's the guy we're ultimately riding for, but Vandenberg is the sprinter. So if he can hang on, if we can't split the field, we'll put him at the back end, and he can then go on to sprint. Our guy is the guy that's the 5.5-star prospect, still somewhere 6-star climbing wise. So he's an elite talent that I want to get a lot of racing time for over the season. So we're going to see him as a lead out domestique quite often. You can already see he's got 69 hills and mountain, 70 time trial, so he's that stage racer, hopeful for us. The acceleration's there, stamina resistance. No, stamina's not quite there, but for baseline wise, as fast as he should level up and as young as he is, Guy is somebody that I'm excited about the future for. Okay, let's get Pithy ready. This Guy's not going to last too much longer. We do not have everybody out front at the moment. We've got some ground to cover. Coop, the one who has lost it a little bit, but he's finding his way through right now. Bogley, Vandenberg, they're there. We're seeing the first move already from individual riders, but that's the whole point on this one, is Guy is done. And not bad. He got us already to 12.4. Set up McKellar. Pithy's going to be a bit faster, as we are very much going into the punchy side of things, and we should bring those front 4 back quite quickly now as we hit the first of the 2 steeper sections. And now it's already going to start to ease off a little bit. Pithy to the back. Vandenberg not hanging on too well, but Bogley's doing just fine. It's okay if we end up losing Vandenberg, if it means going on to win the stage, right? Keller apparently doing damage to his teammates here. On to Culverwell. Pithy's almost done, so we'll drop McKellar just behind Vandenberg. Down to 59. Continuing to split the field. Still haven't caught the last of the breakaway riders, but now just 1 ahead. Coop has no red bar. And we're hitting the top, the KOM. But there's still a ways to go. So I think what we need now is just a 99 from Culverwell for a moment. Giving me his full tempo. We just don't have the red bar. Bogley, we want to set him up to go on that final run. So that means Coop's going to take over now, because I think we're about to hit that run. The right-hander? Yes. So Coop, give me a little lead out. Okay, Vandenberg, you're going to follow Coop. And Bogley is going to sprint. Okay, front two. That's Tom Pidcock. I'd be happy with the top two and separation. Okay, Coop is done. I want McKellar follow Jorgensen and Vandenberg to follow him and use his gel. Pidcock wants the stage, that's fine. I think we're in great shape if we have a top two, right? 1K to go. Bogley sprinting for the line now. Pidcock takes the win, but we are going to get second. We are going to get a time gap, and that is what we wanted. Meanwhile, here we want to sprint. Vandenberg come through. He's not going to get third. I'm a little late on that, but he didn't have really the energy anyway. But he's right there with the next small group. Let's hope there is some time gaps in the field. Bogley gaining some time over the field, hopefully. That's what we wanted. Not as many splits as we were hoping for, but a big split as Pidcock and Bogley go 34 seconds clear of the field, thanks to the team's effort. And Bogley, yes, Pidcock gets the win. Yes, he gets the lead in the race. But let's be realistic. We're not going to be aiming for a ton of wins this season. We're going to be aiming for a ton of top fives, top threes. And this is a brilliant scenario that we just put ourselves in with a fairly sizable advantage and only one punchy stage up Wollonga Hill to worry about now. Vandenberg, McKellar on same time, Culverwell, Coop on same time as the Chasers with a 2.5 minute advantage over everybody else, which means they're completely out. So you're down to 41 in contention for the podium, and we've got, 4 guys in contention for the podium, plus Bogley with a bit of an advantage. Great position to be in right now. So if you're unfamiliar with it, Wollonga Hill is a hill that you climb twice. And so we're going to be making a big left-hander as we are now onto the circuit. We just entered the circuit a moment ago. We're going to make this left-hander, and then we climb Wollonga Hill. But then we have to go across the plateau, descend, go around, and we come right back up it to the finish line. So this first time through, we want to just make sure we do not get dropped. There should not be any attacks as you go through this one, as it's a bit too far out. Breakaway has been caught. Yes, we are dropping back, and yes, we need to push a little bit harder to make sure we don't fall back. But you can see as you come up to the top, and then you hit the finish line just after it crests. So first one of those was the King of the Mountains. The second one is the finish line. No, it's the other way around. That was the King of the Mountains on that one. Finish line's at the other end. This version of it, you get either version. 17K to go, and we are, Culverwell's the furthest one back, so we are recovering position. Everybody's still got some energy. Race day conditions aren't great today, but this is the decisive day. Coop on a +5 has the best shot at winning the stage, but we will keep on his wheel Bogley, because Bogley has that time advantage over the rest of the field. 10K to go. It is time. We're going to line things up, set things up, and off we go on that final climb one more time through. And we are almost fully recovered other than Vandenberg. Vandenberg's probably going to be getting blocked off by McKellar. Hate how that always happens. You got one guy trying to drop back. You got one guy trying to go forward. And we're already making the left-hander. Not quite in the position I want to be in, but we are still on this road. That's where that circuit picked up, and Sugai finally makes it through the field. Pithy, Vandenberg, McKellar there. Okay, Bogley, the only one who's not quite in place now. And Sugai is going 99 here. Already inside 6K. On to Pithy. Big increase in the flat rating, so we are going to be definitely going up tempo from what we were. Gel up for McKellar. Sugai, try to break toe behind. And you can see there's already a couple riders trying to do breakaway stuff that can't get anywhere because we're going 99. Vandenberg, last guy with a good flat. Not greatest uphill. He'll get us started. On to McKellar now, 2.5K. Vandenberg and try to drop to the back. And that helps block off the Uno X rider who was making their move. Keller already. Let's watch from Bogley for a second, as nobody's pushing at the moment, so this is giving us the opportunity to save a little energy. Now 1.6, so we just ate up 400 meters. Keller, get out of the way. Culver well done. 1.1 on to Coop, and we sprint. Coop coming through, looking strong. Now on to Bogley, 600 meters. He is not going to last long with his sprint, but this is about eating up everybody else and nobody else being able to overtake us on our way to the top. We've got one coming. It's Betrago, but I don't think he's going to catch us. Coop's going to take the win. Bogley's going to take second, and that is going to get us the overall race win because of the 6-second time bonus. So Bogley's going to win the overall. Coop wins the stage. 1-2 on the stage as well. Huge result. Pidcock finishes 9th. He's not going to lose any time, so he will finish 2nd overall, but no time bonus. So 6 plus 6 is going to beat out the plus 10. So we're going to win by 2 seconds overall. Coop is going to finish 3rd with the 10-second time bonus, I believe. Great result to start the season. Let's verify where we're at on those times. And quick confirmation, Bogley does beat Pidcock by exactly 2 seconds as predicted. Coop, same time as Stewart and Lawless, but he wins the final stage. Countback should put him up higher, but I would suppose they're using Countback average finish, and Coop was lower than Stewart and Lawless on all those sprint stages. So instead of 3rd, he gets 5th. These guys got time bonuses on previous stages, sprint stages, and didn't lose time. They were in that group of 42 on the previous punchy stage. Either way, though, it's 1st, 5th, and 11th for our team. Culverwell hanging on at 23rd, and then you have your gap there. So it does look like some riders did lose time, lost contact with us on the way up that final time up Wollonga Hill. But that's a double victory. Coop for the stage, Bogley for the overall, and 2 second place finishes for him. We do have 1 stage left, but Pidcock's not going to win the sprint. Stuart Lawless might, but from 34 seconds back, that means that with 36 seconds back, they would only gain 10. So we're going to be just fine. We will claim the overall. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.